June 22nd, 2019 is 3 days short of 29 years. So it's 28 years, 11 months, and 27 days since I masturbated, had an affair. It's important that I say that because that's my sobriety definition. That's how I know I'm sexually sober. It's not about braggadocio. It's about just saying, putting a sign in the sand, a line in the sand, say, this and no further. It keeps. If you don't remember your last slip, you haven't had it. We got a request from Kevin Nemeth in Slovakia. He wants to know about change. He wants to know about sexual transmutation. There are all kinds of wonderful gifts besides just not masturbating and having people come into your room and catch you. Your mother or your girlfriend or your wife or your brother or your roommate. That's really humiliating and embarrassing. Or showing up late for work because you've been masturbating all night. Stopping all that unmanageability is one thing, but there's really a lot of upside that you can take sexual energy and transmute it. And it goes back, for thousands of years. The first writing on it that I've read about is in the ancient Indian text, where they take and they transmute. They have semen retention, so they have these extra human qualities. Now look, there's some crazy people on the internet saying you can stop bullets, by standing there, and you can leap over tall buildings and stop locomotives with your bare hands. That's just craziness. But there are some things that power generates in my experience. For example, I've done 15 hard modes in my life, including a 4-year period and a 19-month period. And what I found is that is the most galvanizing, strengthening, focusing thing I can do. It just, when my brain says, half of the 7.5 billion women in the world, since I'm straight, are not available to me because I'm not available to them, my energy moves from every time I walk down the street, it's like, oh, she's pretty. I wonder if she's age appropriate. I wonder if she's healthy. I wonder if she's got boundaries. I wonder if she's got feelings. I wonder if she can commit. I wonder if she likes to have sex. I wonder if she's, married. I wonder if I don't have to do that. My brain's not wasted calculating if this is an appropriate person, so I won't harm myself relationally and sexually. So the energy stays inside me. And some of the things that so here's what I've noticed. My social resilience is magnificent. You can come up to me and say the most awful things. Like somebody said something really terrible to me last night, and it just rolled off me like water on a duck's butt, because I'm resilient. If you try to shame me, blame me, or control me, which is the definition of emotional abuse, which I was last night, I don't take it personally. It just rolls off me. And the reason is because I'm keeping my sexual energy inside me. So social resilience, and it can manifest. Like I talk to thousands. I've worked with over 50,000 sex addicts in the last 31 years. And guys will say, well, he looked at me that way, or he didn't answer my question, or, she something like that. And they just go into a tantrum and go into a swan dive and start acting out. But with some social resilience, I don't have that. Another thing is I've had power in relationships. In relationship, if I'm just being codependent, oh, I'll do whatever you want and don't hurt me, and being a doormat and a people pleasing, I can't stand up like a man and say, look, that's not working for me. Let's negotiate something that works for both of us so that we both feel like our needs are met. That's a sane thing. Just we love these, that kind of childish craziness, that kind of neurotic, psychopathic, borderline personality stuff, I don't have to do. Why? Because I maintain my sexual energy, and I can be an adult and say, let's see if we can work this out in an adult way. So my ability to negotiate. Also, I had more intuition. We believe in 12-step that there is a power greater than ourselves outside our skin line that was here before we were here, that will be here after we're here. We also believe, and it's more powerful than us. That's how we get the power we need to stop masturbation and porn. We also believe that eventually that power becomes inside you, but not the first day. And the way we access that power is through intuition. And one of the greatest things about being able to access my intuition is retaining my sexual energy. So I transmute orgasmic sexuality, or even genital contact, or even objectification, or fantasy or intrigue. Take all those things and transmute them and use them into other things for intuition and for clarity and for social resilience and for personal power and relationships. And the final thing that I find is I have visions. I have visions that my higher power will send me like a snapshot and say, this is what I want you to do. We believe God has a plan for each one of us. And each one of us' plan is different because they're different people. And there's a universal will for God. God wants us to all live one day at a time. God wants us all to easy does it. God wants us all to live and let live. That's a universal will. But then there's a specific will. My wife's job today is very different from mine. And my friends, they have something very different. So for the specific will, we need some way to access that. And through intuition and through visions, we get a clear idea of what a power greater than ourselves wants us to do. And that's the way we stay in harmony with the rest of the universe. Not just doing our self-will, but trying to find out what God wants for us to do. And that's how we stay happy, peaceful, and joyous, and free. So those are 5 of the things that we can do to transmute sexual energy. You can change. It's not just the sewage getting out, but it's these wonderful things. As long as you don't think you can stop bullets, leap over tall buildings in a single bound, and stop locomotives with your single bare hand, which is just childish craziness. But there are gifts. There are gifts that give you an edge. In business, they say they're looking for an edge. Here it is.